You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party. Let's join Monty Walker with the MTE Fence Senior Spotlight.
We're out of seniors, so we're getting creative here this week. We're going to talk with offensive line coach Jonathan Cromwell. Coach, the offensive line seems to be like a cult. I mean, they stick together. It's like a cult mentality. You agree with that?
Yeah, I do, Monty. Monty, did you play offensive line?
No, I did not. I was a tight end my senior year, but slot receiver all before.
Okay, well, typically we adopt tight end players, so we'll let you into the group. But if you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. And at all the years I've been around coaches and going to coaching clinics, I jokingly say this, but I kind of mean it. A lot of the smartest guys that I see talking at these clinics are offensive line guys, and so we do stick together. And I tell the offensive linemen that 30 years from now, when you're not a football player and you're a dad and you're walking through a grocery store, you'll see somebody and you'll be able to immediately tell if they were an offensive lineman or not.
Now, you went to Ennis and played for the Lions. What was playing for Sam Harrell like?
It was, when my family, we moved from Arlington, South Arlington, to Ennis right before my freshman year, and we thought we knew football. I never had anybody in my family that went to college, and we didn't necessarily come from a high school football family by any means, but we thought we knew football until we moved to Ennis, and then, as a player, we won 2 state championships. We played on 2 state championship teams, should have been a third, but playing for Coach Harrell and his crew and all the other coaches that coached me taught me how to do what we do now, which is love kids and coach hard. But he was a godly man. He loved winning. He was smart, and just if I hope my kids get that same experience with their coaches.
Now, I've seen you on the field, and you do not like to lose. I bet you play a mean game of Monopoly.
I do have a Monopoly trophy, actually. If you're a Hal parent or fan and you've seen me agitated on the sideline of one of the sub-varsity games or any of the games, it's usually related to I'm going to be there with our kids and other teams are going to do it right and they're going to treat our kids like they should be treated. I don't care what the score is. And so I did get flustered at a coach earlier this season, and I yelled across the field that I could beat him in Monopoly, and it's the truth. But I wanted our players on the sideline, and we were getting beat down. I wanted our players on the sideline to know that we're going to compete no matter what.
Now, you were out of coaching for a little bit, but Coach Smith got hired here, and you approached him. How did that story go down?
That's a longer story than what I'm going to put in this. I'll do my best. God has put me in Howe, Texas. My family, I'm from Ennis, always lived in the country. Before we had kids, we moved to Allen, Texas, and then we, for the most part, lived in McKinney for most of our years as parents as we were having kids. So my kids only know growing up in McKinney, Texas. But in December of this last year, we had to get out. I love a lot of people in McKinney, but we had to get out. And so we moved out to Red Road here in Howe, and that happened in December. And then it wasn't long after that when Jake got hired. And I knew everything that had gone and, happened in Howe, and I'd been out of coaching, but I'd keep my eyes on what was going on. I didn't really know what Howe was going to do. And really, I really wasn't looking to get back into education. And when I saw Jake, who's worked for Sam Harrell for the last 7 years, when I saw that he got the job and I have to drive past Bulldog Stadium every day to get back to McKinney, where we were going to drive our kids to school, all that was going to happen. But I came up here to congratulate Jake in the summer and just say hi and congratulate him. And then that's when I found out Andy Sellers was the principal, who was my defensive line coach 20 years ago, and one thing led to another, and they said, hey, you want a job? And I said, heck yeah, let's do it. Yeah, so I'm excited. I've always loved coaching, and honestly, this is another story, but I really wasn't ready to get out when I got out, and it's what I want to do, so I love it.
We're visiting with offensive line coach Jonathan Cromwell. When we come back, we're going to talk about the book he's writing.
If your home or business could talk, what would it say? It may say it would like some privacy or security. Enjoy the beauty and durability of quality fencing from MTE Fence. MTE Fence is a local company specializing in commercial and residential fencing. MTE Fence ranges from wood, aluminum, and chain link fencing. MTE Fence services all of Grayson County and surrounding areas. Go to mtefence.com or call 903-686-9039 for an estimate. MTE Fence has a passion for connection. We are your connection for quality.
We're visiting with Jonathan Cromwell on the Senior Spotlight. Yes, we're out of seniors. But let's talk about your book. It's called Armageddon Coach. What made you think about writing a book?
Yeah, when I got out of education in 2017, and part of that journey was, my wife, we're entrepreneurs, and me and my wife, we move and shake and do all kinds of things in the business world. But one of the things that I've done when I got out, and still is I started developing a software, and it's called Wardboard. We use it here at Howe with our players, and it's a platform for us coaches to evaluate our players that then communicates to players on their devices and so forth. And so I've spent a lot of time and energy and money in developing this software, and as coaching is something I'm really passionate about, and it just seems like I've been so knee-deep in coaching. Even though I was not coaching, I've been around it so much, and there's so much value in what I feel like my software is providing that at some point I felt like I just needed to write a book. I felt like the more I see at like coaching clinics, and the more I see younger generations of coaches that maybe didn't get to experience what I experienced with Coach Harrell and all those guys that coached us back in the day, the more I see a need to put it in words. What is a coach supposed to be? What are they supposed to do? How are they supposed to act? What is it supposed to look like? What should the community allow? And so being a coach and being an Armageddon coach is something that's really special to me.
Well, give us the premise of the book.
There's only two kinds of coaches in this world. There's coaches that care about kids, and then I've actually said this a couple of ways. There's coaches that care about kids, and there's coaches that don't care about kids. And I have no patience for the coaches that don't care about kids. And the other way I've heard it is there's coaches that care about kids, and there's coaches that care about themselves. And so for me, there's good guys and bad guys. And I have no patience for the bad guys. And bad guys are the guys that don't develop players, don't treat players right, don't love players, don't give players what they really need, which is not X's and O's. And so Armageddon Coach, the subtitle of the book is Texas. I think Texas will be the site of the last pure high school football program. And I say that because I think Texas has the right men and the right values to protect what we all love so much about high school football. And so I go through 13 chapters of all the different things that, what it means to be a coach.
Of all those 13 chapters, which one was your favorite writing?
It was like 8 chapters when I started, and then it was like, here's chapter 9, and then I had to divide this chapter because I'd see something or hear something or think of something, and I have to add to a chapter or divide a chapter into 2 different sections. But I'm pretty passionate about it all. If you would have asked me when I was in high school if I thought I would ever write a book, I would say there's no chance. And so this book's pretty driven by passion. A couple of my favorites are the battle against fatherlessness. Something that I've experienced, something that unfortunately the majority of our players and kids that walk our hallways experience. They don't know what it's like to have a dad. The erosion of grit. Is our world getting softer these days? Are kids softer? Are parents softer? It takes what it takes to win. And so in that chapter, I talk about some of the things that I've experienced and what it takes to go win. And it just is what it is. And the community has to trust their coaching staff in order for that to really happen the right way. And then I would say probably the one I'm most excited to share and for people to read is it's titled, I forget what chapter it is, but it's the Lost Boys of Daddy Ball. It's where I talk about all the daddy ball out there and what parents, some of us knowingly and most of us unknowingly, what we're doing to kids at a very young age and how we're stealing joy from players. I think it was Alex Rodriguez, Hall of Fame baseball player. He's the one that said that most baseball players, and coaching is coaching. So coaching at the high school level, coaching your son's soccer team or baseball team, all that's the same to me. If you're around influencing kids, if they call you coach something, this is a book for you. But Alex Rodriguez says that most kids lose their love for baseball and on the car ride home. It's because parents, we're screwing it up for kids.
Where can people find your book?
It's going to come out. It's going to come out on December 12th. It's going to be on Amazon. You can buy a hard copy, paperback. You can download in Kindle, like an ebook type deal if you read it digitally. But December 12th, you can get it off of Amazon, and I'm sure sooner or later here before December 12th, I'll have some hard copies too to be dishing out here in Howe, Texas, hopefully somewhere.
Tonight's Senior Spotlight has been brought to you by MTE Fence. You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party.